Hello, if anyone's come in, today I'm just working on this winter design of a polar bear and an igloo. It comes from a book that I have written about learning to draw. It's a winter themed one. There have been lots of other themes, but I'm selling them. They're the last few now. I'm selling them only for £2.50 at the moment because they are the last few left and I'm going to change the range soon. So let's get started. I've already drawn out our polar bear and our igloo. So I'm going to go in now with a kneadable eraser because we're going to do watercolour. And I'm going to go in and just lift up some of the pencil. These are all things that you will get in the books. But as I say, I'm going to start new ways of doing them. So it's just the last few left of the previous lot. But yeah, I've literally just reduced them down to £2.50 today. So if you want to learn to draw, these books are great. And like I said, I think there's like only 10 each left now. So you might want to get in there and get them while they're so low. So at the moment, I'm just using my kneadable eraser and I'm getting rid of the main lines. And we're just going to work through and watercolour our polar bear and our igloo. So I've got some nice relaxing music on. I hope you enjoy. I haven't actually done any practicing of this, so we'll just see how it goes. Right, so I think for the background I'm using quite a large round, a 12. I'll move the books away a minute. And we're just going to mix a very light blue. Thank you for joining if you've popped in. It's nice to have you here. Just a really nice relaxing place to be. If you do want to see any of my tutorials, the name's there on YouTube. I'm over there as well. I only started YouTube a few months ago, so still very much work in progress. Right, we're going to go straight in for just a nice light blue sky. Hopefully you can see that okay. And it's really watered down, and I'm just going to spread it over the sky area. It's very, very light because we can add more colour to it if we decide to as we go along. I'm going to go all the way to the top, just grab some more water. So as you can see, it's a very watery mixture. Okay, now I'm going to use the same kind of mixture, but a bit, I don't even think I want to do it lighter actually. Do a very similar mixture to start off the snow at the bottom, and it is, although I know we think snow's white, if we pop some different blues and greys in there, it will really make the snow kind of come to life. So I'm just going in with a very light pale blue, just as I put the background in. Are there any painters out there? I focus mainly on kind of beginner artwork. You can catch me over on YouTube for lots of full-length tutorials. I've only been doing it a few months, so bear with me. Hopefully they're getting better as we go along. Right, so the snow's coming in. So the most recent book I did on learning how to draw was winter themed. I try to always theme them. So this is one I haven't done yet on YouTube, so I thought I'd do it today. So I'm just going in a bit more with some of the blue. Now I really want to kind of emphasize below here where the igloo is. I just really want to have some kind of shadow of the blue there coming round, because that will help us to think there's something there. Same with the polar bear. And remember, this is watercolour, so we can be really, really loose with this and just have fun. all of the things that the tasks, the projects that I do, they all tend to be kind of beginner and just meant to be relaxing, kind of mindfulness art. Okay, as we go into the background, we'll make it a bit darker. We can keep layering, so I like to be really, really light and then add more colour as we go. There we go. Nice. Just mixing in some others. Right, I'm going to go in with a bit of grey now for the polar bear. Very, very pale, as I've said before. Start off with a really watery mixture. I haven't mixed much there. He won't take much colouring. And I kind of just let it do what it wants to do, the paint itself. Just get it on the main areas. And we can put the detail in afterwards. Okay, so that's already given him some kind of colour. Now I am going to dry, so watch your ears if you're watching. I'm using a craft dryer, so it's loud. And that's pretty dry enough for us to keep going. Okay, so I was doing the polar bear and I have put some grey on him. So we're going to go in a little bit more with some other slightly darker grey. So we'll come in under his belly here. Okay, and we'll just put in areas where we think he'll be maybe a bit darker. Don't worry too much, it's watercolour. It's very forgiving. Bit there under his neck where his neck will be, and then we'll let that dry. And don't forget, it dries lighter. It will kind of fade into the background as well. But it gives a more realistic effect if you're just dabbing it in. And try and think about where the fur might be going. Now remember, this is only the first few layers, so there will be more to come. What I want to do is add a bit of blue in as well, because the fur will kind of be soaking up the colour of the sky into his lovely white fur. Doesn't look like much at the moment, does it? It looks like a big blob, but trust me, it's just the ugly stage. It will get better. Okay. So now to give the igloo a first layer, let's get that done. I hope whoever's on here is well. I hope you're all surviving the madness of the world. This is why I paint. Keeps me sane. Right, so I'm also now just going over the igloo in a lovely light blue. And I'm just kind of dabbing it on because I want it to kind of do its own thing. That's what I love about watercolour. It just does its own thing. So that's what we're going to do, and then we'll build up the layers. Some of it will be darker. We'll use a smaller brush and come in with a detail afterwards. I am going to come into the sky now and just kind of patch in some of this blue, just so that there's a bit more interest in the sky. We've put the first layer down, but it just needed a bit more. It was looking too white. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to get a smaller brush now because we'll be doing more detail as we move on. I'm still using rounds. This one I think is, does it say a number? It's from an Artful box. I used to love getting my boxes too. It's a round 2. So we're going to come in with the same blue but with less water, so it's not watered down quite as much and we get a bit more pigment out. Now where we really want to be darkening it is at the bottom of each block, because as the block comes round, oh, that's not a very nice track, let me go and change that. I think it was supposed to be like crashing waves, but it just sounded like noise to me. Right, so on we go. I think that's still a bit wet. I'm just going to dry the igloo a little bit. There we go. Right, so I'm coming in now. Hopefully the igloo is a bit drier. And we're just laying some of the darker blue down. You'll see now as it starts to kind of create that 3D effect by adding in the darker colour into like the creases of where the blocks are. Oh, that's nice relaxing music. It's much better. So we're just coming in with that slightly darker. It's the same colour, but it's just a different value of it. So value meaning light to dark. And that kind of creates the effects of the bricks. I'm going to come inside there where the door is. Completely darker like that, because that is where the door is, and then you can see that's the way people get in. And then I'm really going to come in with quite darker blue here. And I'm just building it up as I go. Going to be quite dark down this bottom part of the igloo. Don't be afraid to be quite bold with your paint strokes. It's what makes your painting stand out. Being bold. Can you hear that music? Hope so. So I'm just giving the idea of ice and that it's cold by having the different values of blue there. I have to make sure my head's not in the way. Sorry, I have a terrible habit of leaning right over into the camera. Best not do that. I'm also going to come in with some grey. I always, whenever I paint snow or ice, I always just like to sort of add the grey colours in with the blue as well. There we are. It's starting to look like an igloo. Remember, be bold with your strokes, don't be afraid. Just have fun. All of these tutorials that I do and the ones on YouTube and in my books, they're just meant to be fun. Just enjoy them. Stick some nice music on and relax. Relax that mind. So I think I'm obviously just generally feeling as though this is the dark side and this is where the light's coming from. That seems to be how my brain's working, so we'll go with that. So this will be actually quite dark over at the front here. These bricks here will be much darker. So we'll make them darker. Could be a bit too dark, but remember, don't worry about it. Just have fun. Okay, come down here again. Oh, that wasn't really dark enough. I want some dark. Bring that down so that there's a bit of shadow there. It kind of melts into the snow. Yeah, happy with that. Right, I need to get some of that really watery blue and stick some more over here because there's not much over there. It's a bit too white. There we go. That's better. Right, we'll come back to the igloo in a minute. We're going to let that dry. Now I'm going to go back over to my lovely little polar bear. By the way, in the book or in the downloadables on my website, you'll get these sheets with everything there, so you can even download it and trace it so you can paint if you wanted to. They're all there. They're free. There's a page on there that just says downloadables. And there's 4 lots so far, which came with the books. There's 4 different topics. There's Christmas, summer, fairies, and winter. And there's all the tutorials are on YouTube as well. So I'm coming in again, much darker now, on the polar bear, because this will be where we'll have the shadows on him now. Yeah, further towards the back. Sorry, hopefully my head's not in the way. I'm very good at getting my head in the way. It's very annoying. So I will probably load this up to YouTube as a full tutorial. If you're watching now and you've only just caught me, the whole thing, I'll put it on my YouTube probably tomorrow. He's starting to come to life a little bit now. Now with the face, let's think. We'll have that ears there. It needs to be a little bit darker in the middle. There we go. There we go. And we're just going to draw in some little lines on his face, and he's going to have an eye there. This is where you just have to use the point of your brush. And very, very lightly just draw in. Now, you don't really need a lot of detail when it comes to watercolour on the whole areas, but there will be some places where you will want to put that detail in, like the face. So, because this is where it kind of comes to life. So, okay. And just go careful, just go nice and slow. Take your time to get it how you want it. So I am looking back at the picture now because this is helping guide me for what the original was. And I'm just going to come in with some other marks to mark the back of his head. Let's get some more of the light grey. There we go. Just fill in his face a bit more as well. And then what we need to do is put a little bit of the darker grey sort of down here, which will distinguish his face from the rest of him. At the moment he doesn't look much, but he will in time. You just have to keep coming in with the layers, and the layers is what will create the depth and the reality. At the end of the day, we're not doing like super real work here. This is just fun illustration. You can make him however you want to make him. But I'm just coming in with a few little marks. I'm going to come in a bit darker here again. And I just keep adding layers until I'm happy that I've captured what I want to capture, which with watercolour can just be really, really loose anyway. There, he's starting to come together a little bit. He looks like a bit of a angry polar bear. I don't think I meant him to be angry, but that's okay. Now, I've lost his leg here, so we're going to have to come in with a much darker grey around here to kind of show where his leg was. Because that will be in the shadow. There we go. That's his other leg. He was nearly a three-legged polar bear. We can't be having that. When I'm doing things like this, I could fiddle and faff around with them for ages. So if it gets a bit boring, I'm sorry. I'm just having fun. But that's the aim. Just want you to have fun. Oh, Louis, go away. Sorry, my cat is just about to come and crawl all over. Go away. Louis, come here. Get off. Did you see the tail then? Bless him, that's my cat. I have two cats. They are called Lily and Louis, and they are very cute, but they absolutely love it when I'm sat here painting, and they like to climb all over everything. I wonder if you guys have any that do the same. Right. What should we do next? So I feel as though while he's drying, we'll come in and do some more of the snow, and maybe come in with a slightly darker colour, a different shade. I'm going to try it and see how I feel. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes we can make these risks in our paintings and we can regret it afterwards. But I think wherever we're going to have shadow, we need to kind of change it up. So there, that looks better already. He's starting to come to life. We can see that there's a bit of depth there. Now I'm going to come in and also kind of just do some ridges in the sand, in the snow. I think I must be thinking about beaches and wanting the sun to come back. Bring back summer. We're not far away now. Spring's coming. Hello, Sarah, who's just joined. Yeah, so we're just having a nice relaxing time. The traceables for these are all available on my website, heartanddesign.org.uk, with no E, just Heart and Design. I have lots on YouTube that you can try. Hopefully you can't hear that. There's lots of banging around going on. I'm doing this from home and I have two teenage boys. Oh, they don't know how to do anything quietly. It's just slam, slam. Bang, bang. So I'm just coming in and just creating some kind of depth inside the tunnel of the igloo. Still just building up those layers and deciding what I want to put where. I actually don't want to fiddle about with it too much. I quite like the loose look. I mean, you can tell already what it is, so there's no need to put too much in. But I do quite like in those last moments just to add some real vibrancy, just to show different waves of the snow. So I think I'm going to do that for a minute. We'll come up over here as well. Don't have much room there because that's where my camera stand is. It's literally right there. There we go. So just putting some nice little bumps and grooves into the snow, smudging it all in, and then it just gives some depth. And it kind of feels like the snow's in waves. Coming over again with some water just to create more of that. Mustn't forget to come over behind our polar bear as well. Otherwise it won't make sense. There we go. Nice. Just making sure it's all blending through nicely. Okay, So I've said that the light is coming from this direction. That's how I've tried to do it, which is why it's darker here and lighter here. But that will also mean that these stones here, stones, not really stones, are they? Blocks of ice, will be that little bit much darker. And these ones can stay quite light like that. I think I'm also just going to come in with this grey and really darken up some of the corners of the blocks like this, so we can see. For those of you who've just joined, it looked like that to start with. That was the printable that you can get from my website. Now my cat's meowing because he's cross with me because I moved him. Bless him. He's a cutie, but he's also quite annoying. Right. So again, just adding some grey into that. It really does give that sense that there's that doorway going in through there. Now this paper isn't the best quality, so there are I'm restricted as in how many layers I can add before it starts to become like that and becomes a bit mottled and the paper starts to just disintegrate. So I have to be careful with that. So now I'm just kind of finishing off some of the areas on the igloo. I mean, with watercolour, it's such a free style that there's no really rights or wrongs. Just think about where you're going to have your light coming from and where the darker parts will be. And that should sort it. Right, I think I'm going to introduce some grey into the snow as well. I'm going to keep going with that. Because we did have, but obviously, like I've just said, the paper won't last for too many layers. So just a little bit like that, that evens out and balances that kind of, that colour that we've introduced. I've actually really enjoyed the winter topic. It's been good fun. Might even come in with some darker grey there. For shadows, always try to go dark as you can, because it creates that really good shadow. I've kind of just flipped that. I'm quite happy with that. That's fine. But I am just making it up as I go along. I haven't actually painted him yet. Obviously, I've drawn him, but not painted. Just going to come down here and just make his face have a bit more fur, and I'm going to just draw in some more fur lines, which is kind of a finishing touch. But he doesn't need too many. See, this is the point where I get where I could leave the painting as it is, or keep fiddling and possibly make it better, or possibly make it worse. Could go either way, and that's okay. Now, what I could do, I think, with the sky, I think it'd be nice just to bring another colour into the sky. Let's go for just a little bit of yellow, but really, 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 really faintly. Almost as though there was a bit of sun back there. Just a little hint. That's nice. It just kind of separates the sky from the ground. And we'll just add a little bit in here as well. Using a really big brush with lots of wet paint. Lots of watery paint, I mean. Oh dear. Must be late. I'm getting tired. Right. So let's put a little bit more definition on his face as well. Because he's got a very white face, which is fine. But doesn't quite sit well with the rest of him. but I don't want to ruin him, that's the thing, which is what could possibly happen quite easily, because I got his face nice, and then I felt like, yeah, see, I'm ruining it now. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'm at the pottering stage at the end where I just destroy it. See, I'm not taking my own advice, and I'm not stopping. I'm having too much fun. Just a few more. I may even come in with a little bit of black, and I know a lot of people don't like black in art, but sometimes that tiny little bit of black is just what you need. And we're just going to really emphasize some of the shaded areas on him. And hopefully that will help to bring him out a bit. I'm not sure if it's helped. Okay, I'm going to come in with that black as well on some of these. The bigger the difference you have between your lighter and darker values, the more depth you can create. So I'm always thinking, can I go darker? Can I go even darker? Will it ruin it? You know. I think that's helped. And then I quite like the way the igloo just kind of fades away. So I don't want to do too much dark, but I leave like just the front of it dark. I didn't mean to do it that dark. Okay. Now what you can do as well, let's just dry it all off. So if you've just come on here, there's principles over on my website and tutorials over on my YouTube, just so that you're aware. I'm now going to go in, I think, with pen. So I've got my white gel pens. I think I will maybe come in on his face a bit more. It's not showing up very much. I wanted to come in with some white on his face, but it doesn't seem to be working very well. Maybe it's too wet. I can see it a bit, but not much. Okay, the other thing I like to do on cold drawings is use my silver gel pen. So, where I've got some dark there, I'm just going to come in with a silver, and it will have a bit of shimmer to it, which is difficult to see on camera, I think, but it's there. I like to mix medias, especially with watercolour. Okay, so the light's coming from that direction, hence why all this is darker, and there's shadow here. You can also, which I quite like to do, is come in with liner pen, black liner pen, and you can, if you wanted to, it's just come in and draw some of the outline. I do quite like to use liner pen to finish it off, but I try not to do it like I'm outlining everything. I just do little patches of line like that. here and there, just kind of scribbling it in. And you can just put some details in. I mean, you can do it with the watercolour, but I absolutely love just coming in at the end and just finishing off with some kind of scribbly marks. Just helps to bring it to life a bit. I probably won't have as many at the back because that's where the light is, and I want to kind of keep that loose going into the background and keep some of the detail at the front. Now we're coming to our bear, which is really good that we can come in with our pen and kind of make him look a bit more real, because the watercolours are so loose, and bring his features out a little bit like that. And we can do a few wisps of fur. I don't want to do too many again. I don't want to leave the paint to speak for itself, but I think it just helps to give an idea of describing what's going on. I mean, that's what he looks like there, and that's what he looks like now, and I just think they don't look the same. Where am I going wrong? There must be somewhere where I've gone wrong. Maybe it's because I'm not drawing enough of the detail on around his nose. That would probably help. There we are, starting to get his facial feature back. We'd lost his face. It's a bit better. Somewhere along in that painting we lost his face a little bit. And here we need to draw in his arm. More wisps round here. Then I think we need to come up here to show that leg coming up. And then we'll show his body there. I'm just putting the important lines in that are on the printable that you can get off my website. All free printables for you to just, fun things to have a go at in your sketchbook. But I would appreciate you going over to my YouTube and following me over there and watching my videos over there, because they, hopefully that eventually will help to pay me. Right, so we're just gonna draw that lump of snow there. Draw some little lines in the snow here. Just some little wisps. There's some more over here. Oh, sorry, I just moved you. I think I want to just come in here and just draw maybe a little bit of the outline of the igloo. Really loosely. And then I'm going to come across and draw the horizon line so that's clear. So it's the end now, time for reflection. I'm okay with how it's turned out. I always say to do this at the end of your drawings. Think about one thing that you like and one thing you maybe wouldn't have done. So I'm not sure I like where I added the yellow, where the sun was, but I think it does show a bit of difference. Quite happy with how the polar bear turned out. Love the igloo. Oh yes, hello. Can you hear? That's Louie, my cat. What is it? Are you bored? Is Mummy busy? I'm busy, aren't I? Painting. Please don't walk over the painting. Good boy. I have a studio cat. Well, I have two studio cats, actually. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. Shall I give it a squiggle? That's how I sign my artwork when I sell it. So yeah, thank you for coming along. Anyone that's come along, really appreciate it. Do follow me on YouTube. I'm selling my Learn to Draw books. They're only £2.50 each at the moment in my TikTok shop, or you can visit my website, heartanddesign.org.uk, for pages and pages of downloadables, traceables. I'm not sure if they're all there yet, actually. I've been putting them up there recently and I've only got one set up, but there should be 4 sets. The next topic is going to be all about dogs. So this was from the winter theme. I always try and theme my YouTube tutorials, and so we'll be doing the same when I come on here. So I'm going to focus on dogs. So hopefully see you there. Take care. Thank you very much for joining me.